Imagine knowing with absolute certainty that you're going to murder someone you love. You feel it coming. You can sense the monster crawling beneath your skin, waiting for the moon to rise. You beg people to lock you away, to chain you down, to kill you if necessary. But no one believes you. And when that full moon finally climbs into the sky, you transform into the very nightmare you feared. Now imagine waking up the next morning, covered in blood that isn't yours, with no memory of what you've done. Welcome to the curse of Lawrence Talbot, the man who became the Wolfman. This isn't just another monster movie from Hollywood's golden age. This is a Greek tragedy wrapped in fur and fangs, a story so devastatingly human that it's haunted audiences for over 80 years. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why the Wolfman remains the most tragic monster in cinema history. Because unlike Dracula, who chooses evil, or Frankenstein's creature, who never had a choice, Larry Talbot gets the worst of both worlds. He knows exactly what's happening to him. He fights it with every fiber of his being, and he loses anyway. Coming home to die. Our story begins with what should be a new beginning. Lawrence Talbot, Larry to his friends, is returning to his ancestral home in Lanwelli, Wales. He's played by Lon Chaney Jr., son of the legendary Man of 1,000 Faces, and he brings a heartbreaking vulnerability to the role that makes everything that follows even more devastating. Larry isn't some brooding anti-hero or troubled soul. He's normal, almost painfully so. He's an all-American everyman who's been working abroad as an engineer, a practical profession for a practical man. He's affable, a bit awkward around women, genuinely good-hearted, the kind of guy you'd want as a friend, someone who'd help you move furniture or lend you money without asking questions. But there's a shadow over his homecoming. His brother has died in a hunting accident, and now Larry must reconcile with his estranged father, Sir John Talbot, played with dignified gravitas by Claude Rains. The relationship is strained, formal, weighed down by years of distance and unspoken resentments. Larry is the spare who became the heir, the second son who never quite measured up, now thrust into a role he never wanted. He's not looking for adventure, he's not seeking his destiny, he just wants to rebuild bridges, maybe find some peace in the Welsh countryside, perhaps even find a little romance. Fate, it seems, has other plans. The Silver Cane and the Ancient Verse. Larry's life changes the moment he walks into Conliffe's antique shop. There he meets Gwen Conliffe, a beautiful young woman who runs the shop with her father. Larry is immediately smitten, and in his earnest, endearing way, he's not particularly smooth about it. He uses a telescope from the shop to look into her window, which today would be creepy, but in 1941 was considered charmingly persistent, trying to find excuses to talk to her. During one of these visits, Larry purchases something that will seal his fate, a walking stick. Not just any cane. This one has a silver wolf's head handle, adorned with a pentagram. It's beautiful, ornate, mysterious, a conversation piece. Gwen, explaining the local legend attached to it, recites an old verse, and here, my friends, is where the prophecy enters the story. Even a man who is pure in heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright. Listen to those words carefully. Even a man who is pure in heart. This isn't a curse for the wicked. This isn't punishment for sin. This is horror that can befall anyone, even the good, even the righteous, even those who do everything right. It's the randomness of it that's so terrifying. Larry laughs it off. Of course he does. He's a modern man, an engineer, a man of science and reason. Werewolves? That's just quaint folklore, the kind of superstition that dies in the light of the 20th century. He has no idea he's just purchased the weapon that will eventually kill him. Fortune-telling and fate.
That very night, Larry convinces Gwen and her friend Jenny to visit a traveling gypsy camp at the edge of town. It's meant to be fun, a bit of harmless entertainment. Have your fortune told, enjoy the mysterious atmosphere, maybe steal a romantic moment. The camp is atmospheric, draped in mist and shadow, filled with the kinds of details that make you uneasy without quite knowing why. And there, among the caravans, is Bela, the fortune teller, played by Bela Lugosi himself. Yes, that Bela Lugosi, Dracula incarnate, lending his considerable horror credentials to this tale. When Bela reads Jenny's palm, his face goes pale. There, in the lines of her hand, he sees the mark, a pentagram, the sign of the werewolf, the mark of the beast. Jenny, understandably terrified by this strange man's reaction, runs. She flees into the misty woods, and in a film less interested in genuine horror, this might be where things get silly, but not here, because as Jenny runs, something begins to chase her. A wolf, massive, savage, moving with unnatural speed and purpose. Her screams cut through the night. The hero's curse. Larry, hearing Jenny's terror, doesn't hesitate. He runs toward the danger, not away from it. This is crucial to understanding his character. Larry Talbot is a hero. When he hears someone in trouble, his instinct is to help, to protect, to save. He finds Jenny being mauled by this enormous wolf. Without a weapon, armed only with that silver-headed cane, Larry attacks the beast. It's a brutal, desperate fight. He's beating this creature with everything he has, and finally, the wolf goes still. But not before it bites him. Deep into his chest, fangs sinking through skin and muscle, a wound that burns like fire. Larry collapses, the adrenaline fading, the pain overwhelming. When the others arrive with lanterns, they make a discovery that turns Larry's world inside out. There is no wolf. Instead, lying dead on the forest floor, is the body of Bela the gypsy. Human, very dead, very murdered. And Larry, standing over him with a silver cane in hand, has no explanation that makes sense. The infection of doubt. The wound heals impossibly fast. Within a day, there's barely a scar. But something else is happening, something Larry can't quite articulate. He feels different, wrong, like something foreign is swimming through his veins, rewriting him from the inside out. The villagers eye him with suspicion. The police have questions. How did a wolf turn into a man? Why is Larry's story so convenient? His father, Sir John, tries to apply rational thought to an irrational situation. He's a man of science, educated, reasonable. He proposes that Larry is suffering from a clinical lycanthropy, where a person believes they're transforming into an animal. It's all in your mind, my boy, Sir John insists. The mind can play terrible tricks. You're under stress, dealing with grief. None of this is real. But Larry knows. Deep in his bones, in that place where instinct lives, he knows something has fundamentally changed. The bite wasn't just physical. It was a transmission of something ancient, something evil, something that's now a part of him. He seeks out Mileva, the old gypsy woman, Bela's mother. She knows, of course she knows. Her son was cursed, and now that curse has passed to Larry. She gives him an amulet for protection, but her eyes tell a different story. There is no cure, there is no escape, there is only the inevitable. The way you walk is thorny through no fault of your own, but as the rain enters the soil, the river enters the sea, so tears run to a predestined end. Predestined, that's the key word. This isn't about choice or morality, this is about fate, and fate doesn't care how pure your heart is.
Becoming the beast. When the full moon rises, the prophecy fulfills itself with horrifying certainty. The transformation sequence in the 1941 Wolfman is a masterwork of practical effects. Remember, this is before CGI, before digital manipulation. Everything you see is real. Makeup, prosthetics, clever camera work, and time-lapse photography. We watch as Larry's feet slowly, agonizingly become covered in thick, coarse hair. His hands curl into claws. His face elongates, pushing forward into a snout. Fangs erupt from his gums. His eyes change from human to something wild, something hungry, something that doesn't recognize its own reflection. But here's what makes this sequence genuinely horrifying. Larry is conscious during parts of it. He feels it happening. He tries to stop it, tries to hold on to his humanity, tries to remember who he is, and he fails. The man disappears. The wolf emerges. Unlike modern werewolf movies, where the transformation is often depicted as powerful or even liberating, this is pure agony. This isn't unlocking your true self. This is having yourself erased, replaced by something that wears your skin like a costume. The Wolfman doesn't think, it doesn't reason, it doesn't remember that it has a father, a love interest, a life. It only knows hunger, the need to hunt, the need to kill. The morning after, Larry wakes in his bed, his clothes shredded, his body covered in dirt and leaves. His window is open, though he remembers locking it. There were muddy footprints. No, not footprints, paw prints leading from the window to his bed. He has no clear memory of the night, just fragments, the smell of fear, the taste of... No, he can't think about that, won't think about that. But then the news arrives. Richardson, the local gravedigger, has been found dead, mauled, torn apart by what the police are calling a wild animal, though the wounds don't match any known creature in the area. Larry feels it then, the terrible, sickening certainty. He looks at his hands, clean now, but he can almost see the blood. He knows what happened, even though he can't remember it. He killed Richardson. Not the wolf, not some separate entity. Him, because they're the same thing now. The wolf is him, and he is the wolf, and there's no escape from that truth.
A good man's desperate fight. This is where the Wolfman transcends typical monster movie fare and becomes genuine tragedy. Because Larry doesn't embrace what he's become. He doesn't rationalize it or find excuses. He's absolutely horrified. He tries everything. He begs his father to lock him up, to chain him in the cellar, to do whatever it takes to prevent him from hurting anyone else. But Sir John still doesn't believe. He thinks Larry is having a breakdown, that this is all psychological trauma manifesting as delusion. You need rest, son. You need treatment. There are no such things as werewolves. How do you convince someone of the impossible? How do you make them believe that you're a danger when every rational thought says you're just mentally ill? Larry goes to Mileva again. She performs rituals, gives him charms and herbs, speaks incantations in a language older than the hills. But even she knows these are just comforts, placeholders, ways to feel like you're doing something, when the truth is that nothing can be done. "You're a good man, Larry Talbot," she tells him. "That's what makes this so cruel." Love becomes a weapon. The cruelest twist? Larry is in love with Gwen. Real, genuine love, and she's falling for him too. She sees the good man beneath the growing despair. She wants to help him, to save him, to be there for him. But Larry knows the prophecy. The werewolf is destined to kill the thing he loves most. Every moment with Gwen is therefore torture. Being near her puts her in danger. Loving her makes her a target. The closer they become emotionally, the more certain her death becomes. So Larry tries to push her away. He becomes cold, distant, even cruel. Not because he wants to, but because he's desperately trying to save her life. It's a heartbreaking performance by Chaney Jr. You can see in his eyes that every harsh word costs him, but he says them anyway. Because maybe, just maybe, if she hates him, if she stays away, she'll survive. But Gwen doesn't hate easily. She sees through his act. She knows he's suffering, and her instinct is to help. She keeps coming back, keeps reaching out, keeps trying to break through his walls. And every time she does,
Larry dies a little more inside, because he knows exactly how this ends.
The hunt. The next full moon rises. Larry, desperate, tries one final gambit. He sets a trap for himself, arranging to be in a specific location where people can find and stop him. If he can't control the beast, maybe others can destroy it. But nothing ever goes according to plan in tragedies. Gwen, worried about Larry, goes looking for him. She wanders into the woods, those same misty, cursed woods where this all began. She's alone, vulnerable, walking straight into danger without realizing it. The Wolfman emerges from the shadows. It catches her scent. Human, female, prey. The beast doesn't recognize her as Gwen, doesn't remember that this is the woman Larry Talbot loves more than life itself. It only knows that she smells of fear and flesh, and the hunger is overwhelming. It begins to stalk her. Gwen realizes too late that something is following her. She runs, but you can't outrun a wolf. She screams for help, and for one terrible moment, it seems the prophecy will be fulfilled exactly as foretold. A father's unthinkable choice. Sir John Talbot hears the screams. He's been hunting the wolf, this wild animal that's been terrorizing the village, armed with Larry's silver-headed cane. The same cane Larry used to kill Bela, the same cane adorned with the wolf in the pentagram. He arrives just as the Wolfman is closing in on Gwen. From his perspective, he sees a monster about to kill an innocent woman. He sees his chance to stop this rampage, to save a life, to be a hero. He doesn't hesitate. Sir John swings the silver cane with all his strength, striking the beast again and again. The Wolfman fights back, snarling, snapping, but silver is its weakness. The blows land hard, crushing bone, driving the creature to the ground. And then, it's over. The Wolfman lies still on the forest floor, dying. The unthinkable choice. Old Maleva appears from the mist like a specter. She knew this was coming. Perhaps she's always known. She kneels beside the fallen beast and begins to chant an ancient prayer. The way you walked was thorny, through no fault of your own, but as the rain enters the soil, the river enters the sea, so tears run to a predestined end. Now you will have peace for eternity. As she speaks, something impossible happens before Sir John's eyes. The fur begins to recede, the snout shortens, the claws retract, the monstrous form contracts, shrinks, transforms. And lying there, broken and bloodied, is no longer a wolf. It's Larry, his son, the boy he raised, the man he failed to believe, the victim he didn't save. Sir John's face goes through a journey of emotions in seconds: confusion, disbelief, recognition, and finally, devastating horror. The cane drops from his hands. He has just killed his own son. The prophecy has been fulfilled, but not in the way anyone expected. The werewolf didn't kill the one it loved. Instead, the one Larry loved, his father, became his executioner. Sir John falls to his knees beside Larry's body. There are no words adequate for this moment, no apology that can undo what's been done. He reaches for his son's hand, too late for comfort, too late for understanding, too late for everything. The camera pulls back, leaving father and son in their tableau of tragedy as the mist rolls in and the credits begin.
The beast within us all. Over 80 years have passed since the Wolfman first flickered across movie screens in 1941. Countless werewolf movies have come since, some gorier, some more effects-driven, some more complex in their mythology. Yet none have quite matched the emotional devastation of Larry Talbot's story. Why?
Because the Wolfman is about something deeper than transformation sequences and monster makeup. It's about the loss of control. It's about the terrifying idea that you could become something you're not, something you hate, and be powerless to stop it. Think about it. Larry Talbot does everything right. He fights to save an innocent girl. He seeks help when he realizes something is wrong. He tries to warn people about what he's becoming. He begs to be restrained, locked up, even killed. He attempts to push away those he loves to protect them. And none of it matters. The curse doesn't care about your intentions. Fate doesn't reward good behavior. The moon rises and the beast breaks free, and all your humanity is stripped away like clothes you can't hold on to. Modern resonances. In our current age, the Wolfman's themes feel more relevant than ever. How many people struggle with conditions they can't control? Mental illness, addiction, anger issues, impulses that terrify them. The feeling that there's something inside you that you don't recognize, something that can take over when you're at your weakest. Larry Talbot's desperate cry, "Don't you understand? I'm a danger to everyone around me," resonates with anyone who's ever felt like a burden, like they're toxic, like the people they love would be safer if they just stayed away. The tragedy is compounded by the fact that no one believes him. His father dismisses his fears as psychological delusion. The rational, scientific mind can't accept the supernatural truth, so Larry suffers alone, unable to convince anyone until it's far too late. How many real-world tragedies could be prevented if we just believed people when they tell us they're struggling? If we took their fears seriously instead of dismissing them? The performance that makes it real. Lon Chaney Jr. deserves immense credit for making Larry Talbot more than just a monster. His performance is vulnerable, frightened, heartbreaking. When he begs his father to lock him up, you feel his desperation. When he tries to push Gwen away, you see his heart breaking. When he wakes up after a transformation with no memory of what he's done, you see the horror of realization in his eyes. Chaney was the son of silent film legend Lon Chaney Jr., the man of 1,000 faces, and he spent much of his career in his father's shadow. The Wolfman was his chance to step into the light and create his own iconic character, and he absolutely delivered. The makeup, designed by the legendary Jack Pierce, who also created the look for Frankenstein's monster, is still impressive today. Yes, we can see the technique, the yak hair glued to his face, the foam latex prosthetics, but it works because Chaney sells it. He moves like a beast. He portrays the loss of humanity in his body language. The makeup is just a tool. The performance is what makes it unforgettable.
So let's return to our original question. Is Larry Talbot a villain or a victim? The answer is neither, and both. He's something more complex than those simple categories allow. He's a good man cursed to do evil things. He's a hero whose heroism gets him killed. He's someone who loses everything, his humanity, his love, his life, through absolutely no fault of his own. Even a man who is pure in heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright. That prophecy isn't just about werewolves. It's about the randomness of suffering. It's about how tragedy doesn't discriminate based on virtue. It's about how you can do everything right and still lose. The Wolfman endures because it understands that the scariest monster isn't the one lurking in the shadows. It's the one lurking inside you, the one you can't control, the one that can emerge without warning and destroy everything you love. Larry Talbot didn't choose to become a monster. He fought against it with every ounce of his being. And in the end, the curse didn't just take his life, it forced his own father to be the instrument of his death. That's horror on a primal level, the kind that stays with you long after the credits roll. So the next time you're watching a werewolf movie and you see someone gleefully embracing their beast form, feeling empowered by their transformation, remember Larry Talbot. Remember the man who begged to be stopped, who tried to save everyone, including himself, who died knowing he'd failed. Remember that sometimes the full moon rises and there's nothing you can do but pray that when you wake up, the people you love are still alive. And remember that the truest horror isn't becoming a monster. It's becoming a monster while still being aware enough to know exactly what you're losing. What do you think? Is the Wolfman cinema's most tragic monster, or does another creature claim that title? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this deep dive into classic horror spoke to you, smash that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the monsters that defined the genre. Remember, even a person who is pure in heart can face unimaginable darkness. But unlike Larry Talbot, you don't have to face it alone. If you're struggling with thoughts that frighten you, reach out. Speak to someone. There's no curse that can't be helped with support. Until next time, stay safe, stay human, and maybe avoid full moons just in case.